You're now tuning in to the Ambitious Views podcast, where we share unique perspectives on storytelling within film and television from the past, present, and future. We're here for a good time, not a long time, so let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ambitious Views podcast. It's another day in the life of AVP, and I'm very excited about this episode. Why? Because we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Rizzle 3.
Volume 3.
Volume 3. If you didn't know, now you know. Sister Blaze, how you doing today?
I am good. I mean, I had a busy work day, but it was a good busy work day. So I am good.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's almost kind of in the coastal mode for me now. Submitted grades today. Got some good grades, so I'm
You
proud of
better not
myself.
have failed these students.
Yeah. So anyway, but anyway, doing pretty good. Still coming off the higher energy of last night. We got to see, well, was it night before last?
You talking about?
Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it was Monday.
Yeah.
We went Monday. Yeah. So still coming off of that high, ready to talk about it. I'm super proud. I just want to take out the time and say I'm super proud of Blaze. Why, you may ask, is because she didn't know anything about Guardians of the Galaxy besides what she saw on social media and in the Infinity
Avenger movies.
Yeah. And so she took out the time to go back and
Mhm.
watch and catch up on Guardians of the Galaxy, which I told her it was good, but she didn't want to believe me. And so I remember I messaged Blaze. I just knew she was like, yeah, I'm gonna check it out this weekend or something. And she's like, so good. I was like, what? You watched it?
I did. Unless I was lying.
Yeah, I was like, what? She owned it today. Okay, so well, cool. So yes, you all will be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 today. Spoiler alert. Okay, obviously, we like to talk about things without even letting people know about that. Like we gonna get into the nitty-gritty, as much as we can. So but as always, before we get all into the episode, we have to start it off with a good old this or that. All right.
You can get with this, or you can get with that.
All right, Blaze. So I think I got one for you. Which villain would you rather work for? Would you rather work with Kang the Conqueror or the High Evolutionary?
Oh, this is a good question. Um,
Oh yeah.
Probably Kang the Conqueror, because I feel like as long as you can fight and stuff, you will be good with him. Like he's not trying to harm the people that work with him. But the high evolutionary, like, man, you look at him wrong or you think differently than him, and next thing you know, you stuck on the planet that he about to blow up. So I mean, if he, spoiler alert, if you can make a whole planet of people and then throw them away and just destroy them like that, he don't care about the people he worked for. So definitely not him.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Also, he be making all these creatures, and I don't do animals, so I'm not trying to be around in that lab with all these different animals. Who knows if they get loose? Like, I'm good on that. So give me Kane the Conqueror.
Okay. Okay. I feel you on that. I can see that because technically um he was trying to be loyal to, the original Wasp. And until she figured out what he had already done before he got to where he was, well, until he was banished there. And so yeah, I can see that. Even though he is as crooked as he can be, I think I would feel a little bit more sure of my loyalty towards him versus the evolutionary. So I feel you on that. I feel you. I feel you. Cool. Cool, cool, cool.
We'll be
Well,
conquering all these lands.
you said what?
I said we'll be conquering all these lands.
Blaze said, I got you. We blazing
I
through.
got you.
Buckle
We
up,
blazing
buddy.
through.
Oh man, so cool. So we're gonna switch on over to the watch list. To be honest, y'all, like I'm still trying to, get my life back on, cruise control in a sense, coming from end of the year at my daytime job, finishing up with things, like I said, finished up with Grace today and everything, to like finishing my fourth short film. So that kind of took up a lot of my time, and we had the screening this past weekend. And so, or not, yeah, this weekend. And so it's been a little busy for me, so I haven't been able to watch much. But one thing I will say that I have been able to watch outside of Guardians of the Galaxy is starting back on the Atlanta series. That was really enjoyable. It's been really enjoyable. We just finished up the third season this past weekend, and I know like some people were saying that it was a little awkward, a little slow. You have elements of an anthology type of approach to the series and stuff like that. But I just not truly enjoyed it. The third season and stuff like that, and so I'm actually looking forward to seeing how the last season wraps everything up and stuff like that. And I will say, even though it was a long wait, I will say it's definitely been worth the wait so far. And the
And the
characters,
final season is really good.
you said the last season is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So looking forward to that. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for me. What about you, Blaze? It look like you've been doing a little work.
Not really, not really. So I did watch the Guardians of the Galaxy, all of them, all of them. The first one was all right, I was like, ah. The second one, I was like, okay, this is good. The everything got picked up and it just got better. And then the
Mm,
third one, which we'll talk about more later, it was fire. It was
yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've also I started watching last night Queen Charlotte, which is the Bridgerton story about Queen Charlotte and how
Yep.
her and King Henry got together, and that's been pretty good so far. I
Hmm.
think I'm on episode 3, and
Hmm.
so it's really interesting to see how they got together, and then like they throw in little snippets of like the present, so her as she is in like Bridgerton, and how her history or her past kind of shows up in her life today or at that time.
Hmm.
And but those are really the only things I'm currently watching. I
Yeah.
do plan on starting this new show on FX/Hulu, Saint X. It's about this girl who is trying to crack the case of her sister going missing when they went on a trip when they were younger. I think
Hmm.
it's inspired by a true story. I'm not sure. I gotta look it back up, but it looks like it's pretty decent. And then Amazon Prime has a new spy show called Citadel,
Hmm.
and I've been seeing like the commercials and stuff for it here and there, and it looks really interesting. So I plan on checking that out, just when I get some time, probably before my summer classes start in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And then Run the World on Stars is coming back later this month. So I want to rewatch season 1. And Cruel Summer comes back next month. And so I want to rewatch that first season, even though it's an anthology show. So like the seasons won't connect. But the first season of Cruel Summer is so good that I just want to watch it over.
You know, did you say that it came out last year, Cool Summer?
Yeah,
Okay, that may have been a trailer that we randomly saw. We was like, that actually seems kind of good. So, definitely
it's
say
good.
check
It's
it out.
good.
Yeah.
And it'll
Okay.
keep you on the edge of your seat. Like you would think you know the answer, and then the final moments of the show gonna hit, and you're gonna be like, wait, what? You played me this whole season?
Oh man, so
It's
that sounds
definitely
like
a
some
really
blood and
good show.
that sounds like some blood and water type stuff.
Oh.
Oh man, well that's dope. So I've seen Run the World like trailer and everything like that. I didn't have stars at the time, so I wasn't able to check it out. I haven't had stars since pretty much I finished up with Power. But how does that compare to Harlem? Is it kind of like the same vibe or is it a little different?
It's kind of the same vibe. Yeah, it's like the same vibe, pretty much. They
Hmm.
both take place in New York, and so yeah, it's the same vibe. I can't really think, like, it's been a while since I've seen the first season. I
Okay.
will say Run the World did come out before Harlem did.
Mhm.
Um, one Ask me again after I rewatch it. From my
Okay.
knowledge or from my memory, they got the same vibe.
Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 Definitely. Definitely. I got you.
Yeah, because
Uh.
they have a character who she's getting her PhD
Mhm.
and she's dating her professor. Um, there's a character that's married, but she kind of getting a divorce, but kind of not really. Um, Another character who's about to get married, but she's not really sure if she wants to get married. And then another character who is like having struggles with her career because she did something like big in pop culture, and so it just kind of put like a nasty taste in people's mouth, and so she's struggling like getting her career back up.
That sounds a lot like Harlem. Because you got, Megan Good's character who is a professor, but of course trying to solidify her career in the higher ed world. You got Quinn who's struggling to be, to reach her goals as a fashion designer. Um, the whole dating aspect. I can't think of her name right now, but the very funny one, that seems to kind of find somebody.
Angie,
Angie, who finds, a guy that seems like, could really work out, but, I kind of feel like she's going to say no to the proposal at the end. And then what's the other friend who has a really big media outlet?
Ty,
Sure. Kai?
yeah.
Okay. And she, the whole divorce thing with her. That's interesting. So anyway, I'm pretty
I
sure.
will say that Run the World is not as, and I don't mean this in like a negative way to Harlem, but it's not as like over the top.
It's more grounded.
Yeah,
So that means that it kind of leans a little bit more on the drama side to a certain degree. Like it's kind of like a
yeah.
drama
But
show.
they have, it's comedy, it's funny, but it's not as, like I said, over the top. Like they don't try to lean too much into the comedy. They kind of let it be a little more natural.
Got you. Okay. Okay, cool. This sounds really good. And then so like Queen of Charlotte is all the episodes out or are they doing a weekly thing?
I think all the episodes are out.
Oh, okay. Wow. Cool. 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 So I'm definitely ready to check that out, especially I always look forward to the scoring of the film and I mean of the film of the series and everything like that. So definitely looking forward to that. So that's dope. That's dope. Well, we ain't gonna hold this up too much longer. We're gonna jump right on into the real take, which is all Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. All right.
Because he just
Uh,
loves it so much that he couldn't put anything else.
basically, basically, I mean, I forgot to tell you, like, I was like, man, I'm really having a difficult time of anything else that's going on. But I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with dedicating the whole episode to Guardians of the Galaxy. I have no problem with that because I was completely surprised. So let's talk about the experience first. So Blaze, like, especially going from 1 to 3 in a short amount of time and definitely just going into the experience of 3, like what were thoughts that was coming to mind just on the experience aspect of the energy, the dialogues, the focus? Like what was that experience like for you?
So I'll say it like this: had I only watched the first one and then I was like, forget it, I'm gonna just go watch the movie, the experience would have been very, very poor.
Yeah.
But after seeing the second one, I was like, oh, I can't wait to watch this next one. Like, I was trying to figure out how can I watch it Friday? But I couldn't fit it in my schedule on Friday. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go see it Saturday. Couldn't fit it in my schedule Saturday. I was like, I need to see this movie. And so I finally got to see it though.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, this is really, really good. I was very excited to see it.
Hmm.
And like I knew it was gonna be good from the very first song. Like they start the movie off with Creep by Radiohead. I was like, oh, this about to be good. You know, putting that on top of, you know, everything that was going on with Rocket's past. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is about to be fire.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like I can totally agree. Like they popped it off really good. It was very unique how they kind of brought us in to the experience because it's just like I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy has kind of almost kind of been almost in the same category as Ant-Man. It's like a supporting um franchise to the rest of the main franchise when it comes to Marvel and Avengers and stuff like that.
I
And
agree.
so I was very interested to see what was going to be approached. I knew that they was talking, you know, in different like screenings and sneak peeks, like how the emotions are going to be a little bit higher and everything like that, and how a lot of social media content creators were saying that you know they're definitely going to be leaning heavy on Rocket. We maybe going to be learning more about Rocket and stuff like that. And based off the trailer, I'm like, okay, are we going to be learning more about his past going to come up, you know, come to present with Rocket, and he had his boo thing back in the day that comes up, like, you know, what is this whole experience going to be about? And
Mm-hmm.
so I definitely agree that I really enjoyed the intro into it, the energy. I really love how like films get into it. You know, I feel like that's what worked definitely for like Star Wars. You know, they didn't just, oh, you know, yeah, they gave you the description of what's going on. But other
Mm-hmm.
than that, we're getting straight into the war. We're getting straight into the drama. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
rarely ever a time that is not going. And I feel like that's really great filmmaking, or just
Yes.
storytelling in general, to just get into it and just jump into it. You know,
Yeah,
so
the way they got into it was great.
mhm. Yeah. And um, so how did you like? Were you surprised about the way they told Rocket's story? Like, what was your experience with that? How do you feel about that?
Honestly, I didn't know what this movie was gonna be about. All I
Yeah.
remember from the trailer was that Gamora was alive, and I was like, wait, what did I forget, miss? And so I honestly forgot what the movie was even going to be about.
Hmm.
And so when they started off with like them in the cage and the hand was coming in, I knew instantly. I was like, okay, this is about Rocky.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna get to see into his background. And I
Hmm.
thought that was really I was excited for that because you know, people always call him a different type of animal and he'd be like, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that. And so it was like, oh, we finally get to see what he was. And I was like, so he was a raccoon the whole time. I knew that. But I mean, he's an animal, so of course he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Especially like he was so young when they started experimenting on him, like he
Hmm.
did not know what he was. So I
Yeah. I
thought
mean,
that was really interesting from the jump.
yeah, that's a really good point. You know, I mean, you know, it's not like animals go around like I'm a orangutan or I'm a gorilla. They are who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like you,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of, and that's kind of cool. You know, thought. Like I wonder, what do animals consider themselves something? You know, do they have a name? You know, of themselves, or when they pick out different things, or do they in their head, you know, just kind of know, you know, in a sense, what is what, you know? So that is a good point. Yeah, like I will say, like, I was honestly wondering how much I was gonna care to learn about Rocket, to be honest, because
Mm-hmm.
he was one of those guys, like you knew he was a very sharp character, but you know, sometimes I like those protagonists who are kind of like just, you know, a mix of like a Debbie Downer slash, you know, hero kind of thing or whatever. And sometimes I feel like it can be an overkill if they try to do too much with the attitude with them. And then other times I feel like they, some people get it right and they balance out, the tough guy or tough woman aspect to, a character and just let them kind of grow and develop, throughout the process, which of course, everybody knows, or everybody I feel like feels like one of the best characters is Wolverine when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to those type of characters and stuff. So, but that man, I loved how they did his story.
I did too. And one of my favorite parts too was that since he was in a coma, like 90% of the movie, it gave us the opportunity for them to show us why he is the way he is instead of telling us. Instead
Yeah,
of him narrating and being like, well, this is what happened to me, da 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 da. They showed us what happened so that by the time we got to the end, when he was standing in that hallway and he was started to set people free and then the dude attacked him, it made sense why he was like, okay, I'm about to, finally handle my lightweight because
right,
it's about
right.
time. That
Yeah,
to me was just some really good storytelling, actually showing us instead of just telling us. And then
mhm.
also the way that his all the guardians saw what happened when they, finally got the chip or whatever. And we only saw like a brief moment of them seeing that experience. And that was enough for them to get like, oh, now we understand and now
Yeah,
we got your back against this guy for the rest of the movie. Like
yeah,
that to me, like they utilize their script and the time so well because oftentimes movies do that. They try so hard to explain why this person is so angry, why this person and it's like don't explain, just show it. And so that was just some really good writing on the writers of this movie.
yeah. I definitely agree, and I feel like that's, if anything, if anybody can take a lesson from this story, I feel like um it's always best before we get too upset or get too tired or want to write people off. And sometimes it is difficult to deal with some people because they're dealing with themselves and whatever their past is impacted them for so long, is like figure out what the why is.
Yes.
And finding out the why of Rocket was like an emotional and uplifting roller coaster,
Mm-hmm.
and just to even reflect on, I feel like us as individuals thinking about what we went through and why, and certain things that we hold on to in the back of our heads, and sometimes maybe even forget or act like we forget how
Mm-hmm.
they impact the way we move through life and stuff like that. And so I definitely agree. It literally, in a sense, even though the movie in a sense complemented the story in a, or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
it dang near almost made the film. And when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to the emotional standpoint, I feel like this has been some of the best writing when it comes to the emotional drama aspect
I
in
agree.
all of Marvel, in my personal
I
opinion.
agree. I know I wholeheartedly agree with that. Especially with like this new phase, because a lot of this new phase is focusing on life after the wars. And I like that this movie kind of took a different direction, going back to what you said about focusing on the why of Rocket as opposed to because they easily could have just focused on life with the new Gamora. And I'm happy
Mhm.
that that wasn't like the sole focus. That was a very small subplot, really.
Yeah, and I appreciated that. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
I really did appreciate that. And I was watching it, and definitely after I was thinking it while we were watching it, and then definitely after I thought about it, I said, man, they literally could have, if the time was right and it was part of their plan. I feel like if anything, this sums up phase four
Mm-hmm.
more than anything, because phase four was part of Infinity Saga, correct? Was that right, or was this
I
first one?
think is phase four the current phase or no, phase four is over.
Did it just finish? The one is phase four of Black Panther 2?
I think so.
Okay. So let's put it like this way.
This yeah, because
It's
this is part of phase five.
five. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. So I feel like this film summed up phase three, the Infinity War saga,
Mm-hmm.
Or like honestly, I would have preferred this to be right after Spider-Man Far From
Yes,
Home, or just pushed it to, phase four, Spider-Man or whatever like that, and just have this at the tail end of it. I feel like it honestly would have been perfect. It would have been great, you know.
I agree. Especially like a follow up to Spider-Man. I mean, like the stories don't connect or anything, but when I think about writing and like the emotional aspect, this this like pairs very well with
Mm-hmm.
Far From Home.
Yeah. And I feel like, I wonder, did they ever think about that? Because I feel like people would have been able to accept everything in phase four a little bit easier as far as all of the new characters. And
Wait, Far From Home or No Way Home?
No Way Home. No Way
I
Home.
think yeah, No Way Home. That's the one I was thinking about.
Okay. Is it far
Yeah.
from? Let me see. Because I just be getting my stuff.
I'm thinking about the one that had like the old Spider-Mans, which is No Way Home.
Yeah, I was thinking about Far From Home because, that was the first feature length film after all the Infinity War stuff, and after, Tony Stark had died, and
Yeah.
he was trying to basically cope and still be a leader in the same aspect, which
Yeah.
the end of that leads into Spider-Man 3, and in my head I kind of think about it like, for it to immediately happen right after Spider-Man 3, it almost kind of makes more sense to be in the same phase instead
Mm-hmm.
of separate phases, and waiting as long as we did for
I
the
agree.
third Spider-Man. So yeah, but I definitely would have put it at that part of the phase, but I mean it still worked out. But I feel like it really summed things up really good. I feel like that was the true closer of um phase three, the Infinity War saga. So um what I feel like when it came to the acting slash just the characters in this, they really found a great approach to let almost all of the Guardians shine in this,
Yeah.
you know.
Everybody had their own moment. I agree.
Yeah, and it
Whether
wasn't
it was
forced.
like the words that they said,
Yeah.
their like body language, facial expressions, everybody had their own moment.
Yes, yes. And I really feel like they allowed Mantis to really shine in this
Mm-hmm.
more than anything, she really shined. I guess because it's been so long since I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I forgot that there was this weird thing of her being basically, Chris Pratt's Quill's sister, and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. Because they really don't ever really address it, that I can remember in any of the other films that they're in. In a sense, it's
No.
only at this point it's like the brother and sister thing, So, um, but yeah, like they really shined very well. And so I gotta ask this: what character do you feel like really did it for you? Was if Dane there was like just cheering them on and just really was just eating them up throughout, the movie.
Oh, one character. Okay.
I'll give you two.
Okay. I'll start with Gamora
Okay.
because I liked what they did with her. Like they didn't try to force her to be a guardian. They really showed that since she essentially is like a Gamora from a different life, just because her name is also Gamora and she kind of has some of the same upbringing, she's a different person now. And they allowed her to be that different person.
Mm-hmm.
And by allowing her to be that different person, her traits, her natural born traits shine. Like when she was ready to go, but then they started attacking the ship and Rocket was there by himself. She could have easily just left, but she was like, "No, let me make sure do good."
Yeah.
That wasn't forced. That came very natural because that's just who
Yeah.
she is. That's her character.
Yeah.
but I feel like she showed a lot of growth because the old Gamora became a guardian because she got locked up with them and she
Mm-hmm.
found a bunch of people who were willing to help take down Thanos and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
This Gamora had more agency. She didn't have to deal with Thanos anymore. She got
Yeah.
to choose what she wanted in her life. And what she chose to do was be a part of the Ravengers. And she was good at that. She enjoyed that. And she still found like a home and stuff. And so I feel like that's growth because, like I said, she has that choice and she wasn't such a try hard for a family. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I would say her for sure. And then after her, I really like what they did with Drax character. Like,
Yeah.
cause he kind of like the big dumb guy. And
Mm-hmm.
so I really liked how, and really if you watch all three films, he has a very like fatherly aspect to him. And so when the little kids came up in this one, they just got to show that more. Like he's not dumb. Everybody has their strengths,
Mm-hmm.
and his strengths were able to just shine more in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also like him being able to like come out with his emotions when Mantis was like, when she called him dumb or stupid, and he was like, wait, you think I'm dumb? You think I'm stupid? And she had him forget and stuff. It's like that shows you that he does have some self-awareness, but
Yeah.
also he cares about what certain people do think about him. And
Yeah.
so I
True.
felt like there was some growth with him as well.
Yeah, that is a good point. And the thing is, we have to remember that Drax's main motive at the time of meeting him was to get Thanos back for what he did to his family and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and to, his homeland, and so um he got, in the sense of family, he just didn't have his children anymore, and then he ended up getting that at the end. So it was kind of a great wholeness that he was able to receive in that. So that's definitely, a good point. And I agree with you. I really love what they did with Gamora's character without being so cliche. I feel like they did great, and it's a good analogy of like she already found her family before she found them. And so it only
Mm-hmm.
it only makes sense to where she already has them. She has a sense of belonging. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we see how harsh of a person she can be, based on what
Mm-hmm.
Nebula used to tell us how harsh she could be. And I'm glad they showed that because, as hard nosed as Nebula started off to be and everything like that before she teamed up with them, to,
Mm-hmm.
and her to say the things that, Gamora used to say, do, and everything like that, and trying and seeing that, I feel like that put Nebula on a different pedestal when it comes to her honestly becoming a leader, or, just a great sidekick to the Avengers overall, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
especially working with, the Guardians and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so I will say, like, for mine, I feel like the standouts for this um was definitely Nebula for me. I really
Mm-hmm.
loved like what they did with her character and stuff like that.
She
Just
was a
seeing,
whole different person, really,
yeah,
but
it's
like in a good way.
yeah,
Not like it was a drastic change, but it didn't feel like it was unnatural.
definitely, definitely. I definitely agree. It was just like wow, like, Nebula, like Nebula, like she's dope. You know what I'm saying? And the moments I'm thinking she's, knocked out, like she back up together or whatever, click clack back together, and she's back in it. So yeah, I really would say I love that. And of course, like, Peter Quill's character, it was a great balance. I feel like to it all, I feel like they've always done a great job of, even though he is like the so-called leader and the kind of like the one other group that everybody looks after to take care of, even though they also listen to his leadership and stuff like that. I feel like they did a great job with balancing him out to the entire group,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so but and then on top of that, I just really loved what they did with Mantis. Like, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I really got to know who Mantis is in this film. Get the vibe, get the motive. Would love to see more of Mantis in a sense, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, you know. And so, before we move, you know, further.
Oh, wait.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
had another one. Like
Yeah,
the way they utilized Groot too was pretty cool. Like,
yeah,
he
yeah.
used to just kind of fight and stuff, but he was driving the ship
True.
and he held all the guns. Like they utilized him a lot. Like
Yeah,
obviously they're trying to show because like in the first movie he was kind of just like a tall stick, and then in the second one he was baby Groot, and this one he was built.
yeah. He's buff.
He was buff. Like, but
Yeah,
not only was he buff, but he knew how to use him. So it was almost like he's been practicing on the things that he can really, really do. And so I liked how they kind of threw that in there. Especially since Groot, all he does is says, "I am Groot," and
yeah.
so he doesn't have the opportunity to showcase a lot with his scripts, his
Mhm.
lines, Vin Diesel, but the body work and just the way that what they did with him in this movie was growth showing.
Definitely, definitely. I really enjoyed seeing different elements and going just in that. It just seems like a very when they was all working together, especially at the beginning, of course, too. I love
Mm-hmm.
like how you saw the growth of them as a team and how they worked together
Yep.
and like they knew each other's strengths, they worked with each other, they knew how to work on the fly and who to ask for to do this and the third, you know. And so I definitely agree with that, you know, and even going to the fact that he said, I love you guys, you know, at the end.
Mm-hmm. I was like, wait a minute,
Like
that's Vin Diesel. That was my first thought. That's Vin Diesel.
right, right. All about the family, you know what I'm saying? So
Uh-huh.
oh yeah, like I definitely agree with that. You know, how was you feeling about this villain, Blaze? Like the high evolutionary. How was you feeling about him?
I'm gonna answer that question, but before I answer it. This movie felt true to the name Guardians because I feel
Mhm.
like Volume One and Volume Two, especially Volume Two, that was all about Peter.
Yeah.
Volume One, I would say like 80% of it was about Peter. It really didn't have like a central focus.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie was truly about the Guardians because, like you
True.
said, everybody had a
Yeah,
moment to shine.
that's a good point too.
Um,
Yeah.
as far as the villain, the High Evolutionary, um, he's a trash person, but no, great, great villain, especially when you think about like just like life in general,
Mm-hmm.
how people try to um evolve different things. I mean, take something as simple as the iPhone from where it started back in like 2006 to 2007 to what it is now. Like
Yeah.
that's a phone is something you can easily take and somebody can make it be, more sinister than what it needs to be. And
Right.
so I think that he probably had a good idea like how can I make the world better? And then
Mhm.
power just corrupt somewhere down the line. I wish they would have kind of dove a little bit into that, especially like when they revealed his face and he was like
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever he was. Like, wait, how he get there? Like, can we get a little bit of that? Like, I don't need a whole movie about him, but
I
I
can
would
see.
have liked some explanation as to why like I see that because of how he is and what he looked like, that's probably what made him to be like, let me fix people up and stuff too. But how did he get there in the first place? Like
True.
a little 5 minute information on that would have been nice.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a really strong villain, especially because we got to see his evolution as well from when Rocket was smaller and he was just using animals to
Mhm.
then he was, I guess, using people by the time that, this movie takes place.
Yeah, I think it was so from my understanding, he was using animals, but it's just the way that he was able to use them had finally
Mm-hmm.
evolved in a sense. I mean, yeah, he in a sense almost I guess kind of brain controlled or has some type of control of humans, but not fully and stuff like that, as we can see, because everybody turned on him at the end.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I
but
mean, he created the sovereign community. He figured out a way for them to make people to make people.
okay, okay, got you, cool.
And so he's really always been like that little thread that's been a part of the Guardians, because the High Sovereign, if I'm not mistaken, they were in the first movie, and I know they were in the second movie.
Yeah, because they were waiting. Adam was in the incubator at the time. I think at the end of
Yeah,
the second one, I think.
at the
You
end of the
know,
second one.
yeah, at the end of the second one, and so and I will say, like, even kind of touching on Adam, not going to do much to it because they didn't elaborate on. He wasn't as big to the story as I thought he was going to be, but then, like you said, they stuck to it being a Guardians movie, so I still kind of appreciate it. I just didn't expect for him to be as almost kind of goofy as they made him
I
to
didn't
be.
either. I was like, but then again, when I saw William, I think his name was William Paltry, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good, and it's either gonna be hilarious
Mm-hmm.
or he's gonna really, show like that action kind of drama side. And so I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't surprised that it was more on like the, goofy side.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Yeah. But I'm ready to see, more of his character. Because from what I understand, he's a pretty impactful character on down the line. And stuff like that, and especially with him going through the loss that he went through and all the different emotions. I'm definitely ready to see, you know, what he has going on after this, especially being a part of the Guardians, which I wasn't. I was kind of surprised about that. I don't know if that is or isn't, comic book accurate, but I was very interested at the end to see that he actually was officially a part of the team. So, which honestly made the team like they really didn't lose much with him on there. So,
True.
but
True.
yeah, so yeah, that's cool. But Blaze, like back to the High Evolutionary. When I first saw him, I started laughing because do you remember his face?
Yeah, he's from Peacemaker.
And James Gunn did Peacemaker.
Yep. And I was reading, so he actually did his screen test for Guardians of the Galaxy on the set of Peacemaker when they were doing the season finale. And so
Wow.
since they allowed him to do that, they allowed James Gunn to film the Flash cameo for Peacemaker's season finale on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, when I saw him, I said, man, ain't that some good old filmmaking networking right there? You just,
Right. Like
so
you better get this DC Marvel money. It's money.
hey man, and he did his thing. I man,
He
like,
did.
oh, I mean, for him to kind of like seemingly create his own kind of powers and stuff like that, he was very intense. It was easy for me to believe him. I didn't feel like it was an overkill. Um, Now, did you peep the Easter egg at the end?
Um, like before the credits,
After.
I don't remember.
So, Peter goes in and he meets his stepfather. He hasn't seen him in a long.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's another part where they're sitting at the table
Uh-huh.
and he pulls up a newspaper or whatever, and it was talking about alien invasion and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And they say at the end that basically Peter Quill will be back. I think he's going to be in Secret Invasion.
Oh, you think Peter Quill will be?
Yeah, yeah.
I can see that because I know I know that Gamora, Drax have said that they're done. Zoe and Dave Bautista, they're done with Marvel. But I
Mhm.
don't think Chris Pratt said that he was done. So I can
Right.
see him definitely coming back.
Yeah, and you know that show comes out this summer and stuff.
What
So
show?
Secret Invasion.
Uh,
I
is
thought
it
you
a
didn't.
show or a movie?
It's a show.
Yeah, I probably won't watch it.
It's the one with Samuel. I thought you saw the one with Samuel Jackson.
Wait, oh wait, okay, I do know what you're talking about. Okay,
I
I'll
thought
watch that. Maybe.
you to say that the trailer of it is super good.
They got too many Marvel shows. Like
Oh my god.
I'm gonna need y'all to stick to the movie.
They just getting ready to start back. And I know you're excited for Loki anyway.
I gotta watch the first season and get excited for the second season.
Y'all, we gonna see what Blaze gonna do because she out here being Blaze again. Oh my gosh. Well, either way, I peeped the Easter egg and I feel that we're gonna get Peter Quill in Secret Invasions, and I feel like it'll be really dope to see him because even though he kind of seems like a goofball every blue moon, I do like the fact that they allow him to grow to be taken, even though he can be funny and goofy at moments, that he can easily be taken seriously as well. And so I'm definitely looking forward to him being kind of, I guess, on a more grounded level, not around other superheroes, and just being the best version of himself he can be, as just like dang near like a agent, and using the gadgets that he has to, help out. I think he's going to be a really cool element, and I can see him ultimately being a mentor, a leader for the next group of Avengers or superheroes that may be coming at whatever time. I know they have the film that's coming out that's kind of like the Marvel version of Suicide Squad. I can't remember the name of it, but between that and I know they got the Daredevil coming out sooner or later and stuff like that. It seems like they're trying to do this very distinct focus on individuals who don't have powers but have a very big impact into the Marvel series or the universe. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But overall, I really love the film. I honestly, considering all of the films, I may would put this in my top 6 to 7 out of all the Marvel films.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely.
like
I agree.
it was just super good. Storytelling was great. Nothing was overkill. The comedy was solid and not forced.
Yeah, the tone of this movie was perfect. Great mixture of humor and emotion.
Yeah. And I think, even saying that, it kind of goes back to what somebody had mentioned. I think it was in the podcast Films in Black and White. We were so used to a comedy aspect with the Ant-Man series that the moments that they tried to incorporate him getting real small or just putting in comedic moments, that it almost kind of felt almost random because it was like the approach to the film in the sense or whatever,
Mhm.
like that was just so different from what we were used to. But this felt like a Guardians of the Galaxy film. This felt like a masterclass when it comes to, if you want to make a Marvel film, this is how you make it. Like
Yeah.
it was super good. I honestly I would put it above Endgame. I think I would put it above Endgame. Like it was really
I can
good.
see that too, especially considering the fact that Endgame is so long. Like, all I remember from Endgame was that it was great. Have
Mm-hmm.
I watched it again since the first time I saw it?
Nah,
No. Would I consider rewatching Guardians of the Galaxy 3 again? Definitely. It's only
definitely.
2 hours and like 30 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was super good. If you're one of those people who don't care about spoilers and you've been looking through it, we highly recommend that you go and check it out. Because even though we got into it, I feel like we really didn't, what I want to say, didn't spoil it too much,
No,
So
I agree. Also, Courtney, you got me messed up with all these Marvel shows. In the phase 5, they got Secret Invasion, Loki, What If, Ironheart, Echo, Agatha, Daredevil. That's 7 shows. No, no,
Blaze, it's not gonna be
no.
all in one year.
Nah, I'm good.
And then when the movies come up and you're gonna be confused, I'm be like,
I'm
oh,
not gonna be confused. I wasn't
oh,
confused this time. This one, I'm just now watching Guardians of the Galaxy. The first one dropped in 2014, the second one in 2019. I watched all of Marvel, the Endgame and whatnot, and I was good. I'll be
whatever.
fine. But I mean, I may give some of these shows a try, but the ones where it's gonna be a second season, Loki, What If, probably won't watch those.
Did you watch the first What If?
What if I did it?
I can't stand you. Well, I would say this. Out of all of them, that is the most solid show. What If is. You would enjoy it. You would
Yes.
definitely enjoy it.
We will see.
Anyway, this has been great. I really enjoyed talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Solid film. You know, I know James Gunn is fully DC now, and I feel like he did a great job with closing out his career, I guess for right now with Marvel.
Yeah,
And
he did. Now he
yeah,
finna turn up DC
oh
and put
man.
them on a level of where Peacemaker is. If they can put like all the DC movies where Peacemaker is, DC can compete.
Well, you know he did Suicide Squad too, and that was super good too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so between those two projects, I feel like DC is definitely in good hands. You know, I've never been a super big DC fan. At the end of the day, I feel like no matter how good it is, I think I'm gonna always kind of like Marvel a little bit better. Just
Yeah,
because,
I haven't either. I'm a
yeah,
Batman fan, but I'm not a
yeah,
DC fan, you know.
yeah, you know, I think it's because I can connect more, especially with themes and stuff like that, with Marvel a little bit better just as a person. As opposed to DC, it's like I feel like I'm watching people that these are trooper, these are true like supers out there, you know what I'm saying?
I
So
agree.
in
Also,
various ways.
like all the DC neighborhoods are just very, very ghetto. Like Gotham, you
It's
wouldn't catch me in Gotham.
it's
What?
real tough.
I don't relate to that. Like, yeah, I grew up in Pine Bluff, but not in Gotham.
Oh man, yeah, it's something else. That's just something I get entertainment from watching. Don't want to be a part of it. Nothing like that. You can have it, you know. So,
No, like
but
I don't
yeah,
know if you ever watched the show Gotham. Like whenever people like would new come on the show and they just moved to town, and I'm like, why?
exactly.
Did you not research this town before you moved
No,
there?
they didn't. They
Horrible
didn't
idea.
at all, at all. So, but yeah, like I'm just looking forward to what's next. Awesome job on the film. Like you said, I wouldn't mind watching that again, you know, once it comes on Disney Plus. James Gunn right now is the GOAT when it comes to telling superhero related projects. And I just look forward to seeing, you know, what's next. So, but other than that, Blaze, that is it for me. Do you have anything else before we close it out for today?
You know what? I don't.
Cool beans.
I don't.
Cool beans. Well, it's always great talking about film, television, and all the above with you, Blaze. Other than that, we're gonna go ahead and head on out. So I hope y'all have a good rest of the night, day, or morning. Peace.
Peace.